Austintown, and welcome to this edition of Who's News, where we interview individuals, organizations that have service to the people of Austintown. And we've got a great one here today. Two great individuals representing the DAV. And we're going to talk about what that is and where we're going with that and what their jobs are and how it serves so many different people. But first, I want to introduce my two guests. And to my immediate right is Bob Cooper. Bob is the treasurer of the DAV Chapter 2 of Austintown. He's also the chairman of the fundraising committee. And that is no easy task, I'll tell you that right now in this day and age. And to my right is an individual I thought was here just a few months ago. It was 4 years ago. And that is Dale Beringer. And Dale was the chaplain. And now he's a strong member who shows up all the time. And even though he's a retired chaplain, I'm sure he says a lot of prayers. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Let's do our basic thing that we talk about here in Who's News. Give us your background. Where are you from? When did you come around here? When did you get into the service? And then how did you get into the DAV? We'll talk about the DAV later. Okay.
Well, I'm originally from East Palestine. Graduating June of '66, September '66, I was in Fort Benning, Georgia.
Oh my!
In the Army, I was drafted. Spent a year in Vietnam. After that, I worked in a steel mill down in Beaver Falls for 13 years till it closed. Then I got into sales, which I got tired of that after 30 years. I retired as a truck driver. I drove for FedEx for 7 years, and my whole family's truck drivers, and I hated it. I didn't like being away from home.
Yeah.
But how I got into the DAV, every weekend when I come home, I would see it. Me and my wife would go to Denny's for lunch and that, and I'd see this sign, DAV's passing out food. And I told my wife, I want to go down there and give a donation. Well, they did this on Thursdays. I'm on the road on Thursdays and Fridays, so it never worked out until after I actually retired. And when I went down to donate one time, they says, "No, you're not donating, you're joining." That was
That's great.
6 years ago.
Well, we're going to talk about that. Let me go back to your driving. Were you a semi-driver?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my goodness.
I hauled a set of doubles from New Jersey to Pittsburgh Airport every night.
Oh, my goodness. If you didn't understand that, that's those semis that have two big trailers that you're wondering how in the world they're allowed. Are you allowed to on regular roads with two trailers? Are you? I thought before was that you could only pick them up to go on turnpikes.
That's
stuff.
triples.
Oh, that's triples.
Triples is only allowed on New York and Ohio Turnpike.
No kidding.
They're not allowed. What they do is they stop at like the exit and the gate. They'll drop one trailer, then they can take two and go on finish their route.
I know you're an energetic guy, so you never fell asleep, did you?
No.
No. Okay. All right. That's great. How about you, Dale? What's happening?
I'm originally from Berlin Center. I live in Austintown, been in Austintown now for over 15 years. It was an ironic situation for me because I was already chaplain of the Marine Corps League. And a good friend of mine by the name of Leo Conley got me interested in the DAV.
Wait a minute. You're a friend of Leo Conley?
I know. Leo, if you're out there, I'm sorry. Anyway, and he needed a chaplain. And I had been chaplain at that point in time about 15 years for the Marine Corps League. So he called me up and he said, "You're my chaplain." And anyway, I said, "Oh, okay." So that's how I got started, and I was chaplain roughly with the DAV for about 6 years. And when I came to the DAV, we didn't do funerals, we didn't do honor color guard, we didn't do anything like that. We didn't do the food pass outs like we're doing today. A lot of the stuff that we do today, we didn't do. And I promised the Marine Corps League that I would make sure that the DAV would do funerals just like the Marine Corps League, because there's very few organizations anymore that do military funerals. And that was a key spot for me. That's why I was the chaplain. And I was lucky to have a commander in the the Marine Corps League that agreed with me that we should do every branch of the service, because originally we only did the Marine Corps. So we started doing other branches of the service, and when I joined the DAV and became chaplain there, I said the DAV will do Army, the DAV will do Air Force, Coast Guard. I said the Marine Corps League will do Navy and Marines, and that's where we started from.
Now, this is interesting because there are quite a few different organizations that are created as veterans.
Right.
I mean, they do nationalities, they do, different things like this. And we'll talk about those things. And by the way, before I forget, Leo Conley is a good friend of mine. Leo is not a bashful individual.
No, he's not.
Not at all.
Not a bashful individual. Now, the DAV, now this is, I did some research to find out what it was, because the name of it is Disabled American Veterans. Okay, now this is what the DAV mission statement says here. They're dedicated to a single purpose: empowering veterans to lead high-quality lives with respect and dignity. They accomplish this by ensuring that veterans and their families that they can access full range of benefits available to them, fighting for the interests of the injured heroes of Capitol Hill, and educating the public about the great sacrifices and needs of veterans back in civil life. So the idea is that I get is that the organization is there to provide service for all the veterans, although it does say disabled, all the veterans, and you are a spokesman for them for political reasons. And you provide all kind of services. So let's do that first. You have so many services. You talked about some of the things that you were in the Marine Corps, you were in the Army. Okay, so both of you ended up becoming members of the DAV, and you started initially the DAV was set up. I looked at it. It says to make sure that those people who are disabled were going to get a full, happy life and that sort of thing. But it has gone into so many things now that you're dealing with. So let's talk about Chapter 2. That's in Austintown.
Correct.
How many are there around in Mahoning County?
We're the only Chapter 2 in Mahoning County, and we're Chapter 2 because we were the second organization in the state of Ohio to be formed.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Well, the first was in Cincinnati. That was the very first chapter formed. And if I remember correct, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison also helped form the very first chapter in Cincinnati. And that was in 1909 or something like that. 1921, I think it was.
Somewhere around in there, yeah.
This was after World War One.
It was after, exactly. As a matter of fact, we weren't known as DAV back then. We were known as World War Veterans. It wasn't because World War I was supposed to end all wars. It was the war to end all wars, which naturally we've learned that didn't ever happen.
It gave everybody a need to have another one.
Right.
It's ridiculous. But the fact is that's what shocked me, that your organization has been around so very long. It actually is. So let's talk about, now you have your meetings where?
At the Senior Center.
At
the fourth Wednesday of every month at 7 o'clock. Matter of fact, it's tonight.
It's tonight. Now, now the officers show up. What type of, you have a commander?
We have a commander, senior commander, junior commander, adjutant, who's basically the secretary, myself as treasurer, and 3 trustees.
And chaplain.
And chaplain, and also sergeant at arms.
Now, let's go into the different different things that you do, because I'm sure that's part of the meeting. You sit there trying to figure out your calendar for the next month or so on. So, what is the most activity, the biggest activity that you have? Are they all equal?
Well, they are, but funerals are our primary.
Yes.
Everything starts that we believe that every veteran deserves honors. And we still, even though the President of the United States is the only one that's supposed to have a 21 gun salute, we celebrate every veteran's life with a 21 gun salute because it's just something that we believe in. And if you talk to just about any veterans organization that does military funerals, they'll tell you the same thing. So that's our primary objective, to see that the final call of a veteran is deserved properly.
Well, I was remembering because we discussed that 4 years ago.
Yes, we did.
And,
yes.
But it has become so popular that each of the funeral homes immediately have your numbers.
Yes.
That they call you to provide the service. That is such an honor for the families to have you there.
It's the honor for us also.
Give you a good example. A week ago today, I got a call from funeral home in Girard, and they said, because I answered the DAV phone, and the lady says, we got a veteran, and I'm taking all the information down. I said, what branch? She is Navy. I told it, I'll call the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps does Navy and Marines. But we do have one funeral home that says, no, I want strictly the DAV. But yeah, we work together with each other, and we don't like step on a toe. So I called the Marine Corps League. They took care of it. They did the honors for that.
Well, when Dale was talking about that, now it's the Navy and the Marines have their own.
The Marine Corps League does that.
Okay.
Okay. Now that doesn't mean that other veterans organizations out there aren't doing some of those, because naturally, with as many veterans that are passing away. Back in the peak of things, when the World War II veterans were dying off right and left, that year I did 180 funerals just for World War II veterans. So I said, there's not always, Ellsworth does a fantastic job. They help us out. The new one in Lake Milton does a good job. They help us out.
These are like the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the American Legion. Some of them have their own.
Some of them have their own,
yes.
Now, we work with the Marine Corps League. If we're short-handed because we're all not that young anymore, and with the virus and everything, we'll call, get one or two Marines come with us. And if you ever seen our pictures, we go to Western Reserve Cemetery down in Rittman, and we line up. We've got blue satin jackets. We wear, the Marines wear red, so we got red, blue, red.
That's
and
cool.
we've been told how great it looks when we are all together.
Well, you guys do a nice job too. I remember seeing you a number of times. There are some that are a little loose when they come out with their flags and so on. But it's obvious that you guys practice what you do and do it well. But
5 minutes before the funeral.
You've got to. You've got to. Well, I mean, how many times you've done it? And I'm quite sure that because you are officers and active members, you guys get involved in a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
I think the DAV's done 65 funerals so far this year.
Jeez.
That's counting going to Rittman too. But
That's sorry about the deaths, but it's the honor that you portray for them.
And it's our honor as well.
That's really nice.
and it's also what I want when I go.
Okay. Now, the other thing I keep reading about with you gentlemen is passing out food all over the place. Now, what is that about?
You can't really say it's the third Thursday. The way it's set up, it's the third Thursday before the third Saturday of the month. And it's at New Life Church out of 5 Points. We get down there and we get roughly 45 bags of groceries. And I'm not allowed to say where we take them, but it's two low-income places. And our motto is veterans helping veterans. Well, each place only has 2 veterans. So why go there for 2 bags of groceries? And one place gets 11 bags, the other place gets 35. And it's all low-income people that most of them don't drive even. So they can't even go get, other people can get these groceries on Saturday. They let us in there on Thursday because for us to try to get 45 bags while everybody else is getting 1 or 2,
Yeah, that's a little something.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is certainly if the veterans are in need, you take care of them because that's the primary.
That's our objective.
But because of the situation that you're dealing with, you do a lot of other need people who weren't veterans.
Well, right. I also have, when we get these bags of food, I usually get 1 or 2 extra bags. My wife allows us, she's as much part of this as I am. But anyhow, I've got shelves in my sunroom that I've got like a pantry set up. And I've actually had a couple guys call and say, I don't have any food. And we'll go grab, make up a couple bags of food and take to them, even though it's not that time of the month to get to groceries. So, and I've actually helped some of the darn veterans.
Yeah, I'll bet. We're going to come back to this food thing. And what are some of the other activities?
Well, in the last 2 months, myself and a couple of my buddies, we have delivered 14 electric wheelchairs to veterans and or their wives.
Wow.
Matter of fact, I got a phone call last night. Clay says, how soon can you deliver it? I says, how soon do you want it? She says, well, the guy just lost both legs. He's being released from Bigley on Monday. I said, I'll have it there Monday night.
Who the funeral homes have you for the funerals? Who has you on their list to call when there's needs for veterans? The hospitals, you think?
Well, we made up a flyer that we have wheelchairs and scooters. And we went to a couple of different, Peter DeVito, my surgeon, I've got one of his. I just got a call the other day. The lady says, I was in the eyes, ears, and nose throat doctor, and they said where they got our name, I have no idea. We wouldn't and all of our wheelchairs have been donated to us. Most of them don't run when we get them. We go buy batteries and put in, we make sure they run. I'm not going to give somebody we got one scooter that it'll run good for a day or two, then it just decides it wants a break. So we keep that for us.
Well, it's funny because as I was going through the list, you're the chairman, you're the fundraising committee chairman. And now I understand why there better be someone there as fundraiser.
And he does one heck of a job.
Oh,
He's
I'll
got
bet he
us
does.
involved in so much stuff it isn't funny, and it's really it's because of the need that's out there. And we also set up out at the Cantfield Fair, and we get so many people out there that they don't even have a clue as to what we're doing. And yes, I've been on your show before. We talked about most of this stuff, but it just doesn't. And because we're cutting back so much, things like wheelchairs, things like scooters and that are not always given to the right people. You got to be almost crawling before you qualify for one of those. Yes. But the VA still does as good as the job as they can do. But they're under the same restrictions as a lot of other organizations are. And they have the same problems as what we have.
In this day and age, it's something for those of us that have worked and so on, and you go through Medicare and you have all kind of other things going. In many cases, we forget those who don't. And even with Medicare, they don't have any of the supplements or any of the things that could do things for them. And now that's why you are so up, and it's not just veterans. That's what's so phenomenal about it. Okay, let's talk about your fundraisers. Come on. How do we can make some money? Come on.
Well, come to Handyman this Saturday.
Okay.
I'll be sitting. We have a table outside. We go there once a month, and we pass out little flags: Army, Navy, Air Force, mainly American flags. Mm-hmm. And we also hand out Twizzlers, the package of individual Twizzlers to the kids, and a lot of adults take them too. But we make up pretty good down at Handyman. We used to go to Walmart, but with the virus and everything, they haven't let us in there this year. Mm-hmm. We did a bike run for 360 benefit veterans, and they give us a nice donation from that because we do color guards for that. We're also going to be doing color guards for Harley Davidson.
I'll tell you, you bring them up. A lot of the organizations, everybody thinks of people who ride motorcycles or some kind of tough guys and everything else, but they are such. They're there when you need them. They could raise money for you.
What amazes me, I mean, Lordstown went down.
Yes.
We're a depressed area, right?
Yes.
That weekend, we were out at Walmart. We took in $3,000 in donations.
That's phenomenal.
People the weird part is the Vietnam veterans don't donate. Most of them still feel the country owes them.
Owes them, right.
I mean, there's a lot like that, but there's also
That was
Tons of us, like the two of us, were both served, and
that was a terrible. People don't remember those days when you came back. You were fighting for your country, whether it was right, wrong, or indifferent. That's not your job. Your job was fighting. People died and so on, and the honor that should be for them was held back too much. Of course, that was the different group that would make noise, and they certainly would never get in an army suit.
Well, we've learned since then it's not the warrior that you need to pick on. It's not the warrior. The warrior goes and does the job that the warrior is supposed to do, and that's where your freedom comes from. I was up at the VA the other day, and on the back of a vehicle was this gorgeous sign, and it said, "A soldier died today, and I don't know who he was, but he died for my freedom." And I thought that speaks volumes. And I took pictures of it. I sent it to my kids and that. And I said, this is what it's really all about. And I think we've learned that. I think between Afghanistan and Iraq and we've kind of separated now the warrior from what's actually going on politically, because basically we're apolitical.
Yes.
We don't take a side on anything. And that's just the way we are.
My education came from becoming a politician, just at the state level and local level and so on. But the thing is, because I deal with it so much, you don't make the rules.
Correct.
You do the job. And the thing is, I think we finally got it, because our presidents, whether they do one thing or another, are being attacked, and so are the legislators. But they're the ones who make those decisions.
That's right.
Going on what Dale was saying, I'm going to tell on myself. When the yellow ribbons come out, I was going around cutting them off.
Okay.
And my buddy says, "What are you doing?" I says, "I got hit in the face with dog crap when I come home from San Francisco." I says, "They're no better." He goes, "Whoa." It was the Vietnam veterans who started the yellow ribbons.
That's it.
Because we did not want, well, I should say they didn't want to be, they didn't want any veterans coming home to get treated like we did. And I'm going, now I got to put all these ribbons back.
It is true, and it was the families.
Yes.
The families wanted to welcome their people home. They wanted to start with that, with the songs and everything else that came out. It was a good way of changing it. Unfortunately, if you were one of the first ones, you didn't get that.
Well, that's where the emphasis, too, came from the families on the POWs and MIAs. That's why the accountability, which has never really been brought up, but by the same token, it was the families that started that, and they drafted up. They actually designed the first POW MIA flag, and then it went through the channels to become a national symbol.
I saw that in there. Let's go back to the politics. I saw that in here. Now, the organization, is the DAV a very large organization in the nation?
I don't know exactly total membership, but we are one of the largest organizations in the United States. A lot of the things that we do here are done in a lot of other areas. Maybe not to the extent of what Chapter 2 does, because we've got chapters around that just don't, but you have to understand, we're no different now than what we were when him and I came home from Vietnam. I didn't join anything. I didn't want to be part of anything.
Certainly.
I said, okay, because I was just like Bob. When I landed at Seattle, Washington in Tacoma, I said, I had people come out. We thought these little girls, we hadn't seen an American in a long time, and I thought these little girls were going to hug us and kiss us. Well, they sure did. They threw dog stuff all over us. And that was part of the problem. Well, today these guys are not getting what they need. I buried a very good friend not too long ago who was 27 years old, had 8 years in the Marine Corps as an MP, which being an MP in the Marine Corps is special anyhow, because usually you use shore patrol when you're in the Marine Corps. And he went downtown because he wasn't getting the proper medicine, and he was in so much pain that he bought some stuff off the street, and within 10 minutes he was gone. So that's what's happened, and we're not getting those young guys into this organization either.
I noticed that too. The other problem was there was chips on shoulders, even from soldiers, people who were veterans of World War II and those who were the Korean War and so on. People tend to shun other people, and now most of you don't find too many World War II veterans still around, nor even Korean War at that point. But the Vietnam is there. So I think things are moving a little bit differently. But the other thing is your organization, for whatever it is, the national part of it, you're a big spokesman for the military,
Yes.
for veterans. I see that they're constantly going to Washington, and they're going to see each of the senators and the congressmen and talk to them about what's wrong with the veterans. You know, it's really something, because unless I even found this out at the state level. I have never been in the military, but I owe you guys so much for a wonderful life that I had, that I absolutely, whatever you need, I'd be absolutely ready to go. Well, right now, veterans are up there. They are up there, both at the state level and both at the federal level. And hopefully they'll take care of things to take care of some of these people. You know, we talk about this, but you know, a lot of times people just ignore it. You come back from the military, I don't care if you were in a war or you weren't in a war. Whatever the situation is, psychologically and everything else, you go through things that are unbelievable. Yeah. To be able to come back home and now live, and you need help. I mean, a lot of people need help.
I was drunk for 30 years.
See? I mean,
I wouldn't talk about, I didn't talk. Matter of fact, I just talked to my son a couple of nights ago, and he goes, you know, I still can't believe it, because he lives in Florida now, but he came up here a couple of years ago, was doing things for me, and our past commander was at my house. When commander left, my son says, you know, Dad, I'm almost 50 years old. You've known that guy 2 years, and he knows more about you than I do. Because we didn't talk about it.
You didn't talk about it.
But we talk to each other about it. That's the thing that we share. We can share things. We set up out at Four Seasons Flea Market, and the one little corner that we're in is part of a veterans corner. We're all veterans there on that corner. And we can pick on each other. But we're like brothers and sisters. But don't come in and try to tell us that we shouldn't be talking about another veteran that way. Because first of all, most of it is a joke. Yeah, because we all assume that, okay? Because that's the way we feel. And we can talk and we can do that because we've been there. You don't have a clue as to what we've gone through. You don't know what it's like being away on a Christmas or on an Easter, or when your kid takes his first steps or talks for the first time. We miss a lot of that kind of stuff. And the kids today, they miss it too. You know, that one young man that was just killed in the evacuation had a baby right after, you know, that was all said and done. And that kid will never know its parent. And that's a sad thing too. Because here you have situations like that people don't even think about.
You know, Austintown is a veterans town. Yeah. We have so many different organizations and so on. It was my pleasure when we to go down to the American Legion, and I had all the guys from the VFW, the American Legion, the Marines, the Korean War, all these things. I got to interview all of them. Now, initially, nobody wanted to talk. They don't want to. But once they started, I mean, I was there for almost 4 hours. What people, don't seem to understand, this isn't something that you pack a bag, like I was joking about the Navy, that each of those guys have their own little cabin.
That's the Air Force.
Yeah, that's the Air Force. That's it. But the thing is that here you go, you're going into Vietnam. You didn't even know what Vietnam was.
Oh, no.
Not have the slightest idea what you're doing there and everything else. The whole idea is to go in there, do what you have to do, and protect yourself as much as possible.
Get out alive.
Get out alive.
And watch your buddies back. I mean, we had each other. I was, like I said, I was Army, but we were stationed with a Marine outfit because the Marines didn't have as big a gun as we had. And what Dale was saying about watching each other, joking around that, I do Austintown Farmers Market.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
And we're out there, and like I keep telling everybody, we're out there having fun, joking around with each other. We tease the Marines, we tease the Navy, And we were out there one day, and I was teasing this one guy. He was a Marine, and Miss Lake Morris. He goes, "You should be ashamed of yourself." I ought to kick your. And the other guys go, "Whoa." He's our buddy. He can say anything, but you don't have the right.
Yes.
Until you've walked in our shoes, you don't have the right to joke around about it.
Well, every time we bring something up, though, Bob, you're doing it. I mean, do you ever stay home?
Well, you know,
Very seldom.
my wife says, you know, in September you had 2 days off. I said, what did I do wrong? But I actually, you know, this is my third wife because, like I said, when I first come home, I got PTSD pretty bad. But anyhow, she says to me when I first joined the DAV and I was running around doing all this stuff, she goes, "You're doing too much. I said, you want me to sit around and die?"
Yeah.
I said, my dad, when he retired, lasted 6 months. I said, that's not me.
Yeah, that's when people tell me retirement isn't what it's made out to be. It's much better. But the only thing that you have to remember is you have to find something else to do. And retirement, the beautiful thing about retirement is you can make your own schedule.
Yep.
That's the important thing.
The only thing is you don't get a day off.
No.
Don't get paid for it either.
No.
So you're going around. You guys go around and you sit around and get donations from different people, different different companies let you in and so on, and that's wonderful. And then how do you get these wheelchairs and all these other things?
People
A lot
call
of
us.
it, word of mouth.
Is that right?
A lot
No,
of
I
it word
did
of
talk
mouth.
to, excuse me, I did talk to Jack Cunningham up at the VA clinic, and I told him, because he says, you know, we get a lot of this stuff. Well, funny thing is, ever since we talked to him, we haven't got anything from him. The only thing we won't take is clothes and hospital beds and stuff like that, and medicine.
Yes.
We can't, because we're
We
not
just
licensed.
can't.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you can't do that. But how about other things like crutches or walkers or
Oh, we
things of
got-
that sort?
We've got both electric wheelchairs and regular wheelchairs. And you don't know this because I just got a phone call at the meeting, that lady called. And she says, I hear you've got a lift chair. It's a recliner that lifts up. I says, yes. She says, what do I have to do to qualify? I said, are you or your husband a veteran? She says, no or not. I felt bad by telling her she didn't qualify. So I talked to our commander and my assistant. We're going to let her have it anyhow. Because where we have it stored, I don't want to take a chance of mice getting in there and tearing it up.
Yes.
You know, because it's been there for 2 months now. I would rather let somebody use it. If we would get a veteran who says they need it, that's a different story. But right now, I just soon give it to her. And she says, well, this guy also said you gave him a couple wheelchairs. I said, I'm running out of electric. She said, no, I don't want electric. She said, I just want a regular one. I said, got one of them too. So, and we got walkers and.
Well, let's talk about that. There are these people out there looking at you. I mean, how many of us have had to get things, wheelchairs and so on, because we were through a couple of months of some sort of problem, and now we have them there. So they could donate them to you. But let's do this first. I don't want these guys having to come running around and then trying to spend the next 5 months trying to fix everything. If you have something out there that is there and it's workable, it's nice, it's ready to go, it's things like this, how do they get in touch with you?
We got our phone number.
I'll tell you, here it is.
I got so many numbers.
You know, at the end of the show, Ken, you can do like I did the last time. You can post that at the end of the show.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's 330-774-8479. Now, if for some reason you couldn't hear me, all you have to do, it'll be registered here at the Fitch High School in the media, Falcon Media, and they'll give you the number. Just ask for Falcon Media. When they answer the phone, say, do you have the DAV's number? And they'll give it to you. But look at the book. They have it. I mean, well, of course, we don't have books anymore.
We don't have phone books anymore, Ken.
But I mean, they could donate to this, and if you wanted to donate, money and so on, the money that goes to these gentlemen and their organization is going to do what it's supposed to do. They're very, very conscientious. They work constantly and so on, but it's necessary. It's not bad to help them pay for some flags and everything else that they have to use and so on for the funerals and other needs that you have there.
One thing about the donations we get, every penny we get stays in this county.
I like that. Well, the thing is that you have to take care of your own first.
Exactly.
Now, and what you just said about someone calling in there, you always have that feeling, but the first thing you have to say is, okay, is there somebody there? See, you had a good reason to give up the chair, even though it was a veteran, because how damaged they'll get so fast.
She's going to tell 10 other people.
Yes, yes.
That's our main thing, is getting the word out to what we do and everything else. And everything we do is, like we said, we don't even get gas money, and we're out running all over the place. But I just enjoy what I'm doing. And I couldn't have done this when I was working. There's just no way.
You know, we were talking this before we came in here about the different organizations that are having trouble because people don't volunteer anymore. I can remember when all of the veterans group had the same problem. It is something that all of a sudden, once you pass the age of maybe 50, you start joining these organizations and so on. The younger people at this point are worried about their lives, their immediate lives and so on. But the thing is that you do so many things for them, and it's funny because here you are, the organization, and you take care of all kind of veterans and all kind of non-veterans, people who need it. But I like the idea that the basic thing is to get the rights for the individuals that served, because they're they promise you everything before you get in.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
We're the first step. I mean, you got to. When I got my disability, the guy says, "What organization you belong to?" I said, "I don't belong in any," because I was still working then.
Yeah.
And he says, "I'm gonna put you down. You belong to the VFW." Okay, because we had problems. Yeah. When I come home from Vietnam, my dad was commander of the VFW in Sebring. My uncle was senior commander, so I'm going to join. The guy says $425 for life member. I said, okay, because back then, when you come home, you had a lot of money.
Check, yeah.
And I says, okay. And so as I'm writing out the check, the secretary says, "You're going to be an associate member." I said, "What do you mean?" "We don't recognize Vietnam as a war." I said, "Well, you can stick your organization where," and I've had bad feelings. Now they want all of us to join because they're running out of members. But I don't. But not to say that I don't.
With all the wars we were in prior to and so on, there were all kinds of veterans coming in. And yeah, there were some elitists, there's no question about it. But each of them, like the American Legion is one thing. The VFW, I mean, you have to actually be a person from a war. That sort of to be in there. There were requirements. Now they're loosening up a little bit because they certainly need.
They're having a hard enough time too. But he's right. I went through the same thing, and my dad was always involved in the VFW in Ellsworth. And matter of fact, he was an officer there for the longest time, and I couldn't even join there. But a friend of mine from my church at Mount Olivet, Joe Dickey, got me involved in the VFW in New Springfield. That was my first experience with an organization. But yet, because of the way things were, I didn't feel like I fit in with the WW2 guys or the Korean guys, even though my friends and my brothers and sisters were just as dead as theirs. Yeah. They didn't feel, and we didn't get that compassion from them. And a lot of the World War II guys snubbed us for the simple fact is because when you looked at the real numbers, the Vietnam vet saw more combat than the World War II vet because there was less of us.
Yeah, the irony now is that you're the senior members.
Yes.
Yeah, you really are, and maybe that'll solve some of the problems. I think things softened a little bit, but it's still your memory doesn't leave you.
I'll tell you, the best compliment I get is from active duty guys now. Excuse me. Because I'll go up and I'll shake their hand and say, "Thanks for serving." I said, "Thank you." Because if it wasn't for the Vietnam guys, when I was in Vietnam, I was getting hazardous pay, combat pay, foreign duty pay, demolition pay, corporal pay, tax-free. I got $95 a month.
$95 a month.
And I talk to some of these guys now that are corporal, and they're making like $3,500 every 2 weeks. I'm like,
yeah.
Holy man.
Well, at times I was, if I could make a comparison to this, I was looking at these people who were playing football and playing baseball.
Oh yes.
I mean, way back when these guys were lucky to get $5,000. Now these guys quit if they don't get $5 million, or something of that sort.
But,
Well, it's a different world, guys.
and I respect the guys, the veterans or service people it's in now because I didn't have a choice. I was drafted.
Yes.
They have a choice. They didn't have to go to the service. And so you got to hand it to them. I've got a granddaughter who just got out for medical reasons. My grandson's in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where I took my training.
Oh.
And he spent a year in Korea, then he came back to Fort Sill. But you got to hand it to these kids. They
Well, in many cases, it's a positive thing because veterans are looked with some honor, going into the military and coming out is a very big plus and that sort of thing. It's really funny because we were talking about this too. All I can remember was in Ellsworth and all the smaller towns around the area, and even I'm originally from Camel. We had them in Camel. The organizations, each of the veterans organizations, survived by having a little bit of a bar and a restaurant and that sort of thing, and they made a couple of dollars to be able to do things like that.
See, that's our problem. We don't have our own building.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
that's
don't.
against our bylaws and our Constitution. We cannot have those kind of things. And besides the senior center, we can't have it there anyway.
Yeah. Well, you certainly are welcome there. Gentlemen, you got to come back again. We were running out of tape here. But anyway, I keep saying tape like when there is a tape anymore. Those days are over. But once again, if you have an organization that would like to help donate the funds, we'll get in touch with us. If you don't have the phone number, just look it up. But call me. I'll give you Bob's. No, I won't give him. I'll give him the.
No, you can give my number. Actually, when they call that number, because I answer it at my house, if for some reason I'm not home, the voicemail says, if it's an emergency, it gives my number out.
Okay.
So,
but I mean, the idea is, and if you have a business that you would like to have them come over for a couple of days to be able to get some money and that sort of thing, it's great. And obviously, if you're a veteran and you have a problem, here's the number to call. Make sure you do that. Gentlemen, I on behalf of the people in Austintown, and let me say everybody, I thank you. I thank your organization, but I thank you because you do the work that has to be done. It just fascinates me how in most of the veterans organizations, the leadership works so hard for their particular thing. But you guys have to work for a lot of other things for all the veterans that are going on. But I thank you.
we try.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Well, my two outstanding guests over here, Bob Cooper and Dale Beringer, and the DAV that has served not just veterans, but Americans in other situations. If you have any way that you could help them out, it's fundraising. If you have any needs, give them a call. Gentlemen, again, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. We'll see you again on Who's News.
In association with Austintown Local Schools and Austintown Township.